A million dreams start and end at Oscar Awards, and this session is particularly relevant if there are aspiring filmmakers who are sitting over here, because we have the winners and we have a person who decides who the winners are. So we cannot have a more better placed panel than what we have over here for you all to learn and take some lessons from the discussion and the masterclass that these people have to give us. Rasool, the pride of India, of course, and Slumdog Millionaire is, I think, what kick-started the dreaming process in a lot of us. Guneet Monga, of course, the latest flavor of the season, the Elephant Whisperers. In fact, one is so impressed when you talk to Guneet, and I've had the privilege of doing that. I was, in fact, Guneet, you were so nicely, your style quotient showed a few mini elephants every time you were promoting and talking about the Elephant Whisperers. I thought maybe for this we might just have some Oscar trophy on your side. And we have the honor of having Carter Pilrich with us, where it is genuinely an honor, because here is a man who's not just a corporate honcho, the chief executive of Shorts TV, and I'm sure being film students, etc., you know of it already, but he's also on the jury of both the Academy and the BAFTA. So please give a big round of applause to Carter. We get into all aspects of where the road to Oscar takes us. But let me address the elephant in the room right away, because this is a question that I've been meaning to ask of everyone. And I'm sure somebody would resonate here with me. Should the road genuinely lead to Oscars? Is Oscar Awards the be-all, end-all of a benchmark of a filmmaker having arrived? You are all are winners, and you've seen where your career has evolved after you got this. So would you, in all honesty, say that this is it? Rasool, we'll start with you.
I won't say this is it. I don't know. I mean, with all due respect, I don't know why are we so fixated about Oscars. Oscars, of course, is one of the highest achievement of recognition in filmmaking, and it's for American cinema. In a festival like this, we should be. I mean, I would rather discuss why our films are not in Cannes, why our films are not in Berlin, why our films are not in Venice, also in Oscars. Could be. So I don't think that Oscars is end of everything, but at the same time, having said that, is one of the most recognized, recognition all over the world for filmmakers. So in that sense, it's very, very shining. It also to be able to be at the podium, you have to be exemplary good and creativity at your best. And I personally felt that once the American community see you as an artist, and they will welcome you, heaps and bounds. There's no nationality, there's no caste, creed, nothing. They just wholeheartedly welcome you. And to me, for that is an amazing recognition, and amazing feeling to be part of that community. And the fact that you are standing with some of the brightest creative minds, you are counted amongst one of those the best in the industry, and they formulate things, they formulate theories, they formulate languages for the modern technological innovation of where today the celluloid art is going, So in all those respects, we are at the pinnacle of things. So in that way, yes, it's very, very shiny, very, very prominent, and it's very beautiful. And the statue is quite heavy.
And what a lovely feeling it is to win one and hold one in.
I felt I was dead, went to the heaven and came back. Even today when I look at the video, I don't remember getting off my seat and going to the stage. I don't remember. I know Guneet had fallen flat. I didn't hear from her for 2 days. I said, what happened?
I was hospitalized. Seriously.
Like seriously?
Yeah. Heart rate was so high that the whole night I spent at the Beverly Hospital. So it was really, it's a very, it's a beautifully intense experience. And yeah, I think like Palme d'Or, we've never won at Palme d'Or, which is at Cannes. An Indian filmmakers never won Palme d'Or, right?
Camera Dures.
Yeah, so like Palme d'Or, which is the highest award at Cannes, there is also Oscars, which we as filmmakers are rewarded for cinema. And for any press here, I want to say no money comes with Oscars. There is just so much lack of knowledge, and I'm glad we're here on a group talking about it, that it's a huge reward for filmmaking. It's an award for quality of filmmaking globally. The impact of English language films is global. A lot of studio films, English language films travel, like superhero films, they travel around the world, right? So impact of an award in US has a global award. India is there or not there, but for years we have all woken up at 5 a.m., tuned in and watched the ceremony. So as you enter the business, you dream of it, to being a part of the ceremony, to being a part in the stage, seeing it live. For me, it started in 2010, and I actually met Russell there. I was there with a short film called Kavi, and I was sitting on the 5th floor, and just everything was so small, but my dream was actually at that point of time, I could not even imagine winning. I was just like, whoa, we got nominated. And my dream was like, someday I'll sit on the ground floor, like I'll see everything up close. Then 2019 period end of sentence happened, and I was an executive producer on the shot, and we won. I held the trophy of a film that I participated in a big way. And then I was like, I need a trophy on my name, with name written on it. So 2023 was...
keeps getting more focused and focused.
Absolutely. You're asked from the universe, manifestation gets clearer. So 2023 of course held my own, which is at home. And it's a beautiful feeling. It's rewarding. It's years of doing independent cinema for me. For years of hearing, being put into boxes. You are international, you are art house, you are this. Nobody says you're good, period. So you keep getting put into a box. So sometimes you just have to be like, what is 10 on 10? And that is an Oscar.
Super, very well said. And on that, Carter, would you agree with Puneet's that Oscars is 10 on 10? Well, you do. You're also on the jury of BAFTA. You live in the UK. You make films there, and therefore, in your country, is there ever a question about is American validation or is an Oscar validation the most ultimate benchmark for a filmmaker?
I think I'm an American originally, and I think probably all of us, one of the things that is most exciting about being a member of the Academy is, as Rasool was saying, this community really of people who love their work, and and probably the biggest part of the honor, winning. I haven't won an Oscar, but I've distributed a lot of them. And we've worked very closely with films that have been nominated. And you can see that, but within the Academy of Motion Pictures, there isn't a feeling of, it's a very flat organization. We're a community of professionals, and everything is done by volunteering, and people spend lots of time and are dedicated to the art. And I think probably the greatest part of that is that deep personal dedication to maintaining the standards of the art. Now, I have to tell you a secret though, and that is when I first started coming to India, there were less than 10 members in the Academy of Motion Pictures from India, less than 10. Rasool, who is an engineer like I was at one point, is much more calculating than he looks. And he got himself placed on a diversity committee. The Academy went through a process of increasing diversity, trying to bring the world into the Academy rather than making it a world body. But secretly, and during that time period, Rasool was stuffing the Academy full of new Indian members. We now have almost 400 members in the Academy who are Indian. So I think it's a really great, nobody knows.
Well, this is amazing, Rasool.
The time that I won the Academy Award, I mean, you won an Academy Award doesn't mean that you are an Academy member. Okay? So I won in 2009. I did become a member of the Academy. So my governor, Kevin O'Connell, which is the Sound Branch Academy governor, 2010, he heavily argued to the committee that we must have Rasool in our academy, and they selected me. And when I received that email that you've been selected as the academy, I was more than, my joy was much more than when I won the Oscars. Because like right now, like we were discussing that we should, get Nawaz into the academy. So we should campaign and get these two people get together and nominate his name. And so today we can think of doing that, Until like in 2015, 16, 17, around that year, that there was an argument about academy being white. Academy is so white, See, that's what I like about the community. They suddenly realized that, look, Academy is no more about American cinema.
Right.
It's about global cinema. It's about global talent, bringing them together. And like you said, there were enormous number of people, more than $1 million they spent in just educating students, holding workshops, mentoring programs. And every one of us who is part of every such program are voluntarily giving time. If you look at the calendar, they would be like maybe Spielberg or people of that kind, giving enormous amount of time on their own, just further. That we just don't want to stop at me being an academy member or me winning an academy award, but we want others to come forth and get them recognized, And that for me is the most beautiful thing. So then I was nominated into the diverse committee, and I served 3 terms, and then I went into the executive committee. And of course, I ran for elections at the Board of Governors, but I never won. But I managed to get a lot of people into the academy, and a lot of paperwork.
Way lot.
Yeah, a lot of. How many members are there in the academy, if I may ask? I
Overall?
sound ignorant.
Yeah, right now about 9,000.
9,000. Yes.
More.
So when I joined, it was bordering between 5,000 to 6,000.
Right, it's 10,000.
And now, on an average, every year we are taking like about 300 members.
Yeah.
You can imagine. So
And now there are 400 Indians in the overall.
Thereabouts.
Yeah.
But it's a huge jump.
Absolutely. From there being none.
from 5 to. And imagine
we had in 2018. I brought 2 governors. We had a meeting of all Indian members of the academy, and there were like 6. That were not retired and available. It was amazing, and so and I think as you look at because all of these festivals have different prizes, different things that they reward. But as you look at this kind of as a process, it's not. None of us make movies just to win awards. We have stories we want to tell. Really great stories about elephants, stories about young girls, stories about dancing in some train stations. They're amazing stories and
That's Slumdog.
But on that, Guneet, in fact, I want to ask you if he's mentioned the absolute right word. Storytelling is basically what gets us the award. There was a beautiful story, The Elephant Whisperers. At what stage of conceiving that film, making that film, showing that film to people, did the first thought of the fact that this could win an Oscar come into your mind?
I actually think my every film will win Oscar. So I start from there. I am on the other extreme of कि हम तो best ही बना रहे. So I actually start from there and assuming that, manifesting that from day one, and then I think how can I make this the best in the world. This movie is the best in the world, and what is the talent that I can attract, what is the advice that I can get to be able to be at par with the world. So I work actually very hard in elevating the journey of a film, of a filmmaker, and associating it with the right people or mentors, or at the edit stage, at many at the script stage, at producing stage. We're always picking up advice, because filmmaking, it takes a village. It's not one person's. Yes, it's a vision, but that vision needs to be supported. And as a producer, it's my role to create space that allows world best filmmaking to happen. So I assume that from day one. And to every director, I'm just like, I'm also not disillusioned. There are films we make for India, there are films we make rooted here, but there are a lot of local for global conversation like Lunchbox or Masan or Period End of Sentence or Elephant Whispers. There are scripts and movies that can be co-produced, that can, those emotions are universal. So you plan, and I really want to tell this to all filmmakers, that Oscar is not the last run. It's something that you start from the day go, that where is your movie going? Who is the audience for this film? If you're, and there is no right or wrong answer. Your audience can be pan-India audiences. Your audiences can be non-diaspora, global audiences with Indians also as the audiences. So if your audiences are non-diaspora, then what is your launch strategy? Where are you launching? Recently, I've produced a film called Kill. That is a genre film. It's an out-and-out action, India's most violent film. It's a 100-minute film with 90 minutes of non-stop action. But I am fascinated by Raid and Sisu, the Finland film Sisu or the Indonesian film Raid, and I really wanted, from the day we started the shoot, I wanted it to play at Midnight Section in Toronto. I just needed for that to happen for the film. Post that, it's not in my hand, but I wanted to make it that good that out of the 10 films that they select, 10 films that they select, one is ours. I really wanted day one premiere. It should be that good that we can get a premiere which is leading the festival. We did that. The festival started on 7th, it was premiere on 8th, and right after the premiere we had 8 offers from around the world. And we were able to jump on those offers. We were able to, it's the first Indian film that is being sold to Lionsgate. That is sold to Lionsgate for US UK release, and we've also sold the whole world. It happened before with Lunchbox. Distribution is at the key. Awards come later. First is distribution, that is what even Carter does. So innovating, producing has been a lot of my journey. So yes, there are times when I see an edit and I think it can go all the way. And at that point of time I start thinking, what are the partners that one needs to talk to? Who are the people? Because it takes time. You can't finish the film and then be like, now help me, and I only have 1 month. It's asking too much. You let people who know more, who have seen more, participate and mentor in the journey, so that you can land your highest chances of being shortlisted.
It's basically finishing the product at every stage possible. It's an entire process.
Decision making at every stage. I saw the rough cut of Period End of Sentence. I knew this will go all the way. I don't know it will win, but I said that this will go. It is an intuitive thing that will come. I still know it in my bones that Lunchbox would have been shortlisted, would have been nominated. I don't know if it would have won. It never got nominated. It never got selected from the India committee.
Yeah.
But I know it in my bones, and the feedback that you get from press, from on your journey, on your festivals, that it will go all the way. With voters will push it forward to get shortlisted and then nominated, and even that is a very, very big deal, because then you are in top 5 from around the world.
Yeah. And it's here, Carter, that I would want you to, in the simplest possible terms, if you could, just tell us the steps that it takes for a film to be considered, or what is it that, so there may be very talented filmmakers over here, and confident ones like Guneet, and very sure that their product is deserving of reaching there. What are the steps that a film has to go through to be considered?
Sure. We deal with short films. I came in to filmmaking and really could never finish a feature film. I just didn't have the attention span, and I decided short films are really the art form that I loved. And one of the things, as in our question earlier, one of the things that I loved about being in the Academy is the Academy members, all of us treat each art form, whether it's a documentary film, or a short film, or a feature action film, or a Marvel's film, or any of them. They're all fabulous art forms and artists working to fulfill their potential. So I know the short film process very well. Short films are slightly different because it is difficult to get them distributed theatrically. So for a short film, you have to win an accredited prize at a festival or get released in a theater in the United States, which is difficult. If you win an accredited prize, you go onto a list, and the year for short films closes out in October. Features have to be released in the United States, and then they're all considered. Every feature that's released in the United States is possibly be considered for any of the other categories. And that process is for the shorts and many of the other categories, animations and feature documentaries. The branches each set the standards. So the sound branch sets their standards, the documentary branch sets their standards, the short film branch and the animation branch set their standards, and really the branches are like little guilds. They're totally responsible for everything about their award and their art form. And there's a shortlisting process. Each branch has a slightly different way they do it. The actors have one way, the sound guys have another, documentaries have another. Shortlists all come out either the end of the year or the very beginning of the new year, except for Best Picture. That's January, and then this year, coming year, January 23rd, then we all vote on the shortlist, if it's a shortlisted category, and then the nominations are selected by the branch. So the sound branch selects sound and music and best song, and then we present to all of the other members all of our selections. So our best 5 short films that we have in our branch have all looked at, and argued about, voted for, and the best 5 documentary shorts and the best 5 documentary features. Each branch recommends them to the rest of the Academy, and all of those nominations are announced together on the 23rd of January. And then there's about 6 weeks of campaigning, wearing elephant dresses, and then on the 10th of March this year is the actual telecast, and everybody votes up until a couple days before. It's Tuesday before voting closes. And until that point, and at that point, no one knows anything. You get a sense? Maybe. But I would say that most of us are wrong. In fact, my rule of thumb is I love Guneet's film, so I assume it's not going to win. Just that I think maybe I have the wrong taste or something because I've been wrong so many times. But it did. And so sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't.
Yeah.
We all have.
No, absolutely. We'll come to, in fact, those grueling last stages where hectic campaigning, etc. happens. But Rasool, he mentioned that the very eligibility requires, let's say, for a feature film in particular to be released in the United States. So again, that brings us to the moot point of whether international collaborations from the very starting stage of a feature film or an Indian feature film is really the key to. So, for instance, Slumdog Millionaire was. It was made for the international audiences. You had in all departments. It was an Indian film, but an international
Indian
British
film.
It was a British film. Yeah, it was a British film with showing India to the international audience.
Etudes from India.
True, true.
Solid etudes, which is also a first.
Absolutely. So the point here is that, do you feel that for a film to actually have realistic chances, there needs to be an international collaboration to begin with?
No, I don't think so. So it's like this, when Vinith was talking about, how she plans, and right from the day one she knows where to take the film and all. I mean, that kind of thinking and planning actually scares me. I can't think that far, okay? When we were making Slumdog, we never thought that Slumdog will go this way. We were just making a film, a beautiful film that we all thought it's beautiful. And we all thought it's quite, a new way of looking at life in India. And Slumdog never got a release. It was supposed to be a DVD release because we didn't get any release anywhere. It was supposed to be going on DVD. Then the week before it goes into DVD, we had one release, one theater. And first day it was two shows, and the third day it became 5, fourth day it became 25, by evening it became 75. That's how it grew, and it went on to become the biggest sensation. And nobody bought it. Like Warner Brothers didn't buy it. But when I saw the first, like the 8th draft, when Danny came back to India and showed it to all of us and took all our inputs, when I saw it, I felt like it is like City of God. It is something like that. There is something in it which I couldn't put my finger to it. And in that year I was working in LA for another Indian film that I was working. I was doing some recording works in LA, and I was very apologetically telling my guys, my friends, I have done a small film. It's called Slumdog Millionaire. When it comes, please come and watch it. And that year I very well remember there was a MPSC show, which is a Motion Picture Sound Editors Guild. Every year they pick up the biggest sounding film, and in that year it was Batman Forever. So Richard King was the sound designer, and our favorite composer, I forgot his name. They all were there in Chinese theatre. We all had a presentation and all that, and I went and met him and all that. And I never knew 3 months down the line I'm going to be contesting him on an Oscar. So it was that crazy. We never imagined anything. We never planned anything. It just happened.
It had a destiny of its own.
Life just happens.
But I just wanted, on your question about co-productions, I just wanted to remind us of this year. This year, in my office, one of my guys, this is in London, comes in, we do short films. He says, there's this film on Netflix, you better go watch. I said, well, what's that? He said, well, you like India, right? I said, yeah. He said, it's called RRR. I said, like what? Like RRR? And he said, yeah, it's like the letters, RRR. And I said, that can't be the title of the movie. That's just like AAA. Yeah, it's just random letters. He said, no, you have to watch it. So I watched it. It was fantastic. It was a total Indian film. It had one. The amount of co-production was there were 3-4 British people in the movie. That's it. And it was fabulous. And I think audiences, because of Netflix, possibly, are becoming more educated. So RRR was in theaters. It was hugely popular, but people watch it everywhere. And I think co-productions are not as necessary now. Gunit Gunit considers herself half American, probably.
No, I'm fully Indian, and in fact, Elephant Whisperers was a fully Indian production and the first Indian production to win an Oscar. Period End of Sentence was a co-production. That was a co-production because it was US and India. But I'm a proud Indian, and I can go there for a bit, win the awards, and it's all great. But the joy is coming back home always. So, in fact, to your answer, it's more nuanced. you can never plan awards. You can just make the best project, you know, and as a producer, that's always the greed, to make the best project, and that's the steps that one entails. We had no idea about Elephant Whispers, and we just got shortlisted. You know, we'd done a few festivals, and then we suddenly we released on 8th of December, and we were shortlisted on 21st of December. And the other films that were on have been doing year-round of festivals and were doing year. So, you know, I think at some point of time, quality, some kind of strategy, there was no such strategy, but we released on 8th of December on Netflix. I really, you know, with the stage, with people here and here at IFFI, I really wanted to break this down and say there is one thing for shorts, there is one thing for features. And in features, RRR did a campaign for all the mainstream categories.
Yeah.
So in features, there are two ways of entering. You have to be nominated from the country for one award, which is the best foreign language film. And then you compete with the best foreign language film from around the world. Now for that to effectively happen, I think a lot of education needs to happen within our country on what to send and why to send, you know. So the key of this is distribution in US. It is not just about doing one cinema release, you know, and just getting nominated or just putting that tick. I think if we can just put that word out there in bolds, films that are distributed in US have a higher chance of going forward. Not winning, but at least getting shortlisted. At least this getting real, at least getting nominated. Because you have to understand, the voting is absolutely democratic. Not one person decides it. And voters are around the world now with the diversity. They're around the world. And they hear and see titles. We spend a lot of time as Academy on the titles. But there are also titles that pop per year. The one that works in Sundance or one that pops at, you know, there are 300 films that go to Toronto. But you know the 10 films that have, you know, really worked and sold and done business and, you know, have won awards at Cannes, at Sundance, at all BFI, you know, and those films have a chance of going forward. Firstly, why were they selected at the festival? Because they were good from their country. The programmers have a job to find the best in the country. They got into the festival because they are celebrated, because they are very good in their craft. So now that when they are selected at a prestigious film festival like Cannes, Toronto, BFI, Busan, it's great. It's a step forward when you're talking to a global market. Then, step 2, did it win an award there? Step 3, did it get distribution? Did it get American distribution? Then that is the key, the film that you push from your country. You can't, I actually feel years we've not been doing this right. And I'd really like to put that out there, that knowledge is very, very important. There's a system to this. You know, what usually happens is a film that gets nominated from India, gets selected from India, and suddenly the team is just like in October or in September, in October from India is like, now we have to run a campaign and get shortlisted in 2 months. It's never going to happen. It's just the truth. I'm sorry if my words hurt, but it's the truth, and if I can't say it to my people, then when will I say it? You know, so having that knowledge is really important, and in 2 months to build a campaign is very difficult. It's next to impossible.
But what I hear you say is that
it's 100 countries.
Yeah, the scale then in that case is again very, very important for a film to.
It's not scale.
So the distribution would require a certain a level, a film to come to a certain level. So you're saying that the committee that selects the Indian official entry also needs to take this into account in terms of optimizing on the chances that a film may have.
Optimizing on the chances of getting shortlisted or moving forward is your first rule should be, did it do any festivals? That means it has travelled outside of our market and gone and travelled to various festivals, any festival. Did it win awards? In what category? How did it perform? So Why did it go to a festival? Because it is something new, something different, a genre or something, you know. What I'm trying to say is that there is a role that festivals play, which is highlighting a movie. You know, and that is why festivals are really important in the scheme of things. Awards happen after you've premiered. Distribution happens after you've premiered. For around the world, for foreign language titles. It can be art house, it can be RRR, even popular cinema. But if they have the legs to do that campaign, you know, they have done a mainstream US distribution. It is at the key of, we are running for an American award. You know, so there is a
so it's very logical that something.
So that I'd like that logical conversation to happen rather than, I've been a part of the committee, and when in India, you know, the conversation here is through our knowledge of what we think it is best. But one has to zoom out a little bit and see what is best for this award, an American award.
Practical point that she's making.
I have a point to make. I beg to differ with Puneet Monga, with all the due respect. Now, when we send a movie for the Oscars, are we sending a movie to win the Oscars, or are we sending a movie that truly represents Indian cinema? So it's a big question, you know. And let's imagine, let's understand there are two kinds of cinema in this country. Okay. Every country is known from the music it listens to. The music it listens to. Okay? What is the music the whole of India generally listen to? It is the film music. Every other country in the world has their own music industry. Especially if you take the West, they have pop culture, they have rock stars. So their music stars are much bigger, much higher, and they are constantly supplying the music that a country needs. Okay, so the music industry and film industry are two separate entities all across the globe, except India. So in India, a filmmaker is also owning the responsibility of supplying music to the majority of Indians in this country. So it actually creates two kinds of cinema. Okay, out of the 1,200 movies that we make every year, 7 to 8% of the films are commercial, big ticket success. 7 to 8%, imagine. And out of those 1,200 movies, maybe less than 10 or maybe less than 20 films that come from all the regional spectrum of the country are original movies. When I say truly and honestly original movies, you know. So India by itself poses so much of challenge in identifying which of these 20 movies or 10 movies from 12 out of this 1,200 movies to represent India. I mean, let me take a very specific example of Guneet talking about Lunchbox. Lunchbox had its own. Lunchbox didn't get selected from India as its entry. But in that year, there's a small film made by NFDC, a Gujarati film, called
The Good Road.
The Good Road went to the Oscars. Okay, it had no chance. But the committee picked up that film instead of a Lunchbox. The Lunchbox was also an independent filmmaker, production, filmmaker, producer, independent film. Good Road was also an independent film. So these two independent filmmakers were fighting each other. Okay, that we didn't get the chance. But I felt that year the committee had taken a very, very decisive decision that we have to send a film which committee. I mean, every committee is a quasi-judicial decision. They felt this is the film that we should send this year. You know, irrespective of the fact that whether it win or don't win. But this is a film that should represent the country this year. I think that is it's a huge philosophical decision, which the diversity of this country and the polemics of filmmaking in this country, understanding all that, it's a huge decision, and I stand by that decision. It doesn't have to be looked at. I mean, RRR had its own veracity and its own power, muscle power, money power to go and run for Academy Awards, because all the mainstream cinema that is releasing today, whether it is Telugu film, Tamil film, Malayalam film, Hindi films, all those films that are releasing, they are also having a US, UK, Canada, Australia, GCC country releases. So we are eligible to be at the Oscars if you have the money power to do the campaign. But now, last year we had 170 films from all across the globe in the foreign film category. Now, looking at all that, selecting, and I don't think films that are getting selected in the foreign film category needs a huge campaign. I'll tell you the selection process. I've been in the committee, I've been in the judging committee quite a few number of times, and it's a 3-4 process. Last year we had 170.
It's exhausting.
It's a huge thing. So we had a 3-tier process. So a committee divided into 4 categories, A, B, C, D, and each one of us would be each of these categories voluntarily join as the jury. Members would watch 15 films, and each committee will select 15 films, and then all of us will watch it together, then select a 15. So first 15 prepared like that. Out of the first 15, then comes the nomination. So once the nomination comes, then it goes for general voting. I think the campaign is only required when it is put it out for the general voting for in the foreign film category. So that's where the campaign matters.
But doesn't that, then Guneet's point becomes very logical that for anything, and not just in a film awards, a country should send a candidate which has the maximum potential and chance to win, be it sports, be it films.
I don't agree with you. I don't agree with you, because then what about a small little film which is made in an innate corner of India, is chance to represent India. It may not have travelled in the festivals, it may not have any other way. See, I am of the belief that, let me quote Hrithik Ghatak in this. Ghatak said, the most nationalistic we become, the most universal we become. And for me, it is the duty of all of us that contribute to this whole filmmaking community in this country, is to go and find that what is the most nationalistic idea that touches a universal chord.
Yeah, I think
that is what it goes.
Can I?
Carter wants to.
I just wanted to say one thing. Because I have a slightly different view. I love and hate the International Foreign Language Film Award, because I've been on the jury 2 or 3 times, and I think it is the most exhausting process of film watching that I've ever done in my life. It's so many films to watch, and it's some of them are fabulous and some of them are difficult to watch. It's interesting, but there are 23 awards. Now here are the stats. Every year there are 5 nominees in 22 categories and 10 or 15 nominees in the Best Picture category. So about 125 nominees every year. In the last 20 years, there have been over 2,200 total nominees. India has had, of that, in any category, has had, since 2000, has had about 15 nominees and won 6 times, which is fabulous. But I think that as a community, a film community here, and I count myself there, I'm down at the ground level pushing young filmmakers up to make their best stories here. I think we should look at all of these categories and give some pushes so that we have more Guneets and more Kunal Mehtas, who did Little Terrorist a few years ago, live action film. I think there is a lot of really amazing filmmaking, and I'm less worried about the foreign language award, because I don't know that it always reflects the best film. It's harder. Whereas I think that all the other categories, there's so much richness in Indian filmmaking right now, and the stories are fresh. Stories from India, stories from Korea, Korea, they're really interesting and new. Stories from India, stories from Korea, new and interesting to audiences in the West. They're really, they're bright and surprising. So I think maybe also the focus should also be on really tackling some of the other awards.
Guneet's been waiting to
Yes.
counter.
Thank you.
No, not counter. I think we're all in space of sharing our opinions and experiences here. But it is a classic conversation of art and commerce, right? And I'm a producer. I look at both the aspects. Supporting the art, leaning into the art, making sure that the art is in its purest form, retained, and the commerce bit of it, that it is well protected, it is guided, it has its maximum chances to perform. What has maximum chances to perform? I mean, we have festivals to show the best of Indian cinema. For any filmmaker, if they are in one corner of India, I would encourage them to apply. I would encourage them to go to Cannes, go to Toronto, to go to BFI, Zurich, incredible Telluride, Sundance, get into the mentorship program. I've built my career on that. I work as a producer in a hardcore equity market and I don't come from any money. My parents and I stayed in 5,000 rupees rented house and I'm a producer. So I have made the system work for only art house films. So I have not done any mainstream actor films, right? So I am not in the conversation of that. I'm in the conversation of beautiful, purest form, a lot of first-time directors and a lot of first-time directors who are also trying to find their voice. So innovating the business has been at the core of my being and Sikhya Entertainment's being. Lunchbox, the treaty with France was signed in 1985, India and France. We were the first ones to use it in 2011. And to use a combination of subsidy money and a combination of equity money, we also had NFDC's money in it. So that it can be also owned by the government of India. And it was a lot of paperwork across, insane amount of paperwork, insane amount of first time producing with no a peer group of sorts that one can pick up any advice on. So you're trying to do this also in 2011 and 12. And it's also an independent film. But one cannot be, the ambition of winning an Oscar for a country is amazing, like you said, Be it a sport, there has to be a strategy. There has to be real math. What are the numbers? What are our odds? What is our competition? How do we even know what is our competition? The films that broke out, the Japanese film that broke out at a festival, will mostly go there. And a lot of voters, maybe in the France area, in this area, would have heard about the title. So there is a strategy to that. So I think the mindset of what is India's best, does it have the legs? Will it be able to hire a PR? How are they doing it? You are going into an uncharted territory of getting votes. Who will come to the screening when you host a screening in LA? So having the umbrella of people who have done this 100 times before for the last 70-80 years, which is distributors, which is US distributors, you make the most beautiful film. I think Kumbhagali Nights would have traveled. I don't know if they didn't do any festivals. I think would have gone all the way. I think we make extremely beautiful films. And then encourage the films to go to festivals. Encourage the film. We are having a very big conversation. We are reinventing distribution. We have a tendency of selling the whole world in India because we are a 100% equity industry. That is a huge challenge in front of us. Now, if you have sold the whole film to Sun TV, Zee TV, Star TV, then you actually don't have space for an American distributor to come in or any other distributor to come in. The awards are run by the distributors. They have PR on their payrolls. They've been doing this year on year and they do it on multiple titles. So they sit in a lot of know-how, a lot of knowledge, and that's why the concept of partnership exists. Yeah. So you share knowledge to put an Indian conversation forward. there in 2 months, I cannot gain 50 films that they have done, their knowledge in that 1.5 2 months. I'm barely finding ground. And we are 100 of us from 100 countries. So just logically, which is the film that has the most amount of, because we are dealing with an award, we are dealing with a World Cup, we are dealing with an award, and it's a competition, you know. So so all those accounts need to be seen. And yes, Best of India needs to be represented for sure. But Best of India is also represented by winning awards at various
I think Rasool's point is more about the heart needs to be at the right place to represent India truly, while those which have the potential to have legs of their own can manage to apply to other categories on their own, case in point being RRR. But please.
No, there are two things here. Okay, so Monga being dear friend, lovely producer, independent cinemas, you know, Lata Mangeshkar, all that. She is beautiful. She has done. I mean, all what she has made it on her own. I am very, very proud of her achievement. And I am one of the persons who predicted her Oscar. She was not even willing to believe it.
Yes, anyway. He called me and he said, no, it's not. There's Malala opposite her. She's doing such a strong campaign. He said, you're going to win. Just shut up.
And so coming back to what she said, just taking moti points. You know, very early stages of filmmaking, somebody called filmmaking is a fascist art. You know, somebody.
Wiser than us.
The theorists, there are theorists sitting here. You could ask them. I think Andre Bazin called it's a fascist art. So you know, where is it fascism? It's actually distributors' fascism. It is they are the one who is sitting and deciding what film we should watch. I do not agree with that fascism of the distributors when the queen of independent cinema, she says distribution is the one who is eventually going to decide the awards runs, or we need to have that in mind when we select a particular film. I do not agree with that. But I agree with her on some other points. Now, what is that we can do right? Okay? How do we select, okay, this is the right film? I'm going back to my original point. I don't know why are we fixated about Oscars. Okay? We don't have to win. We have to send the right film that we think this is what represents the true essence of India. That is all we need to know as a country of filmmakers. Now, we can do two things to do this. In that, some of the problems that Guneet is saying might get corrected. One, we need to have a committee before the films goes into the actual committee who decides doing the voting. We need to have a committee, a screening committee. Suppose out of all these films, say 50 films have come into goes to the jury. Out of the 50 films, we could do a screening, which we do in every other technical awards we do. Oscars, MPSC, CIS, BAFTA, every other awards we do the screening to find out if this film is an original work of art. Is it inspired from some innate Korean film or some other Iranian film that we have not seen, or you know, some God forsaken country where somebody has seen it in some movie or in YouTube somewhere down the line, and we picked up some idea and made a film which is overall it looks like an Indian film. So we need to have a screening committee that would say that okay, this film is truly original and this is to be judged. So that takes care of a lot of issues. Then what is Government of India doing? They are collecting 40% of entertainment tax. Okay, we are a film going community. We are our only we don't take vacations. Okay, Indians don't take vacations, barring a few percentage of Indians. The only vacation that we have is every weekend we go and watch a movie with the family. That's our outing. 100 rupees ticket, 40 rupees we are giving to the government. What is Government of India doing in return? Running 2 film schools, having this festival, or and we have an India pavilion. We have an India pavilion at Cannes, which is the biggest pavilion ever. Okay? Other than that, what is truly Government of India doing towards enriching Indian cinema in this country? I would say nothing. Why can't Government of India set up a fund and to have some tie-up with one of the biggest PR agencies in America and say that, look, we are sending this film this year. Okay? I'm saying a small percentage of the entertainment tax that you're collecting, 0.00001%, which will be a $1 million or a $500,000. Now, if a film gets selected, it is up to the poor producer to do all the pushing there. He can't make it. Unless it's a RRR, you can't make it. Okay? So why can't we create a film fund? I mean, I am imagining this film and eventually become India Pavilion in future. But I'm saying as a beginning, as a start, we could have a very healthy, streamlining of, if you want to push the film to the Oscars, that's the world stage. We could do, if we do two things, 90% of the problem gets sorted out.
Thank you. Those are great suggestions. I did want to say that, Scorsese won an Oscar for a remake. So, I think a work of art is very, very subjective. We are in a subjective industry, right? So, what are the odds of winning? One needs to know that because this is an award and the stats are really not in our favor. 110 years of Indian cinema, we've never won once.
But.
For foreign language category.
Yes.
For foreign, I know there are all other categories, but we are only debating about how the selection process can get fine-tuned with our limited knowledge and experience. And if till the time the fund happens, till the time big policy decisions happen of moving tax.
Fund can happen tomorrow.
Please make it happen. Make it happen tomorrow. We can impanel 5 publicists, all of that. But till that time, we can also have a list of do's and don'ts, which is the strategy behind trying to get shortlisted. Not winning, but move. What are the highest chances of something to move forward has to be considered on the table.
And this is all assuming that it's all being done for films that are definitely are good.
Yeah. But I think we should go back to Gunit #1, and because at the very beginning you said something that I thought was very interesting, and that is the way that you plan a film, right? You pick the biggest prize out there and try to make it to that prize, right? Well, I think the biggest prize is not should be, as we think about it here, the biggest prize.
Carter, that could be a personal ambition.
No, but Parasite won Best Picture, right? And
cinema is the biggest soft power.
No, I'm just saying.
So putting our
I
skin.
totally agree. Yeah. But I'm saying what you should be trying to do is figure out a strategy that gets you to Best Picture, and maybe also Best Foreign Language Film, but get you to Best.
But who
Picture.
distributed
That's what I say.
Parasite? Please say who distributed Parasite?
Netflix.
So
yes, but
American distributor.
No, but my point is not that. My point is, Parasite went in as a foreign film, okay, from that country.
Yes.
But like I said, when the Americans see a true talent, it also went into the mainstream Oscars.
The distributor and the campaign.
That's my point.
And it won Best Picture.
Yes.
Best Director, Best Foreign Film. I'm saying when the American community, the artists, the Academy members, when they see true talents, they lap it up.
That is exactly what is distribution called.
What she's saying.
That is what is distribution is called.
Make it more noticeable.
So any foreign language film that has won has had mainstream American distribution. It's just logical. They've not distributed from Korea and Iran, and I think what Korea has done is the best strategy that we should follow, which is about, and it is not about personal ambition or whatever. It is more about taking our people, our community, our language, our color, our experience forward as India. And we are best in the world in every scenario, in terms of every category that makes to a best film. So best film is a combination of so many energies coming together, leading to the producer at the center of it. But what I really wanted to say here was that literally all the and it's actually beautiful in many in the last few years. Korea has really gone up the
exploded
everywhere digitally, and now the distribution is actually with Netflix. Case in point, Elephant Whispers. Case in point, period, end of sentence. Distribution with Netflix has become global. There is a new world order, right? Which is not cinema to cinema, but it's also new world order, which is .com, which is Shots TV, which is Netflix, which is and they are an American studio that is taking your film, putting it on a platform. Hence, they are distributors and they are exhibitors because they are a platform, and they then run the campaign. And they guide you, they put in their resources, their years of knowledge on the table, which is very difficult to acquire otherwise alone. And we did not spend 2 decades making films in America. And this is an American award. So there is a logical conversation to whatever I'm trying to say. And case in point, because I just need to say that it is a little bit of a soft spot, Lunchbox. A global uproar happened. Festival directors from around the world wrote that it's a bad decision. And NFDC was at the center of both the films. Both the films were theirs. And over a decade, one is healed and one is being like, because of course it's an opportunity, even to forget it that it was my film, it is a country's opportunity to go forward. There was many press articles written about the choice being wrong, because this year it was with Sony Picture Classic on it, and an independent film, a co-produced, 45% of the money was India. It was very hard to make the co-production happen. There was a lot of fuss in that, technically and everything. But anyways, this year another article happened, which I a decade ago I had forgotten, and it was IndieWire, which is mainstream Indian press. And I didn't even know somebody's tracking my career, and there was a line there that Puneet Monga was robbed of an Oscar during Lunchbox, and here she is with Elephant Whispers. This is not my line. It was an IndieWire article. Please watch it. Please see it on your own. I had forgotten about it because decision making is if the decision making has to be well informed in terms of strategy, in terms of quality, and both of them together make our best chances happen.
Fair point. This is a classic heart and head debate, though I would continue to say that Rasool's coming from a place of pure heart and saying that there needs to be a concerted effort by the country to also look at the underdogs and not the ones that are privileged enough, because the privileged ones can look at alternate means, just as Carter had suggested. And I remember having a discussion with Aamir Khan many years ago when Lagaan got nominated. Yeah, so he did at that point mention that it is that exhausting process of campaigning, lobbying, spending whole lots of money. When RRR decided to go on its own, I remember newspaper articles talking about an 80 crores being kept aside just for the campaigning, lobbying part of it. So maybe that's a point which the jury members should.
No, it's a system.
But if I can just say, even in the campaigning is becoming such a big thing now in every single category. Even in the short films, the campaigns have started. My inbox is full, massively overwhelmed, and my Facebook feed, LinkedIn, everything has 400 ads a day or something for different little movies. It is a big onslaught. There is I would say now, a global recognition that an Oscar is an Oscar, whether you win an Oscar in a short film or an Oscar as Best Picture, they're the same prize, and it's great. And one of the lovely things about being an Academy member is everybody is excited about everybody's Oscar, and it's a really great feeling. So I think I'm just saying, I think we really should. The campaigning is intense.
It's intense and
actually no, I don't even want to say that. Campaigning is also a journey. Like if you're fundraising, right? You can't be disillusioned about films get made with money, right? They don't get made with exchanging food, right? So you need money, and you have a hat on. You have a strategy to raise the money. You're crowdfunding. You're taking your uncle's money. You're putting your own. You're taking money from a studio, right? Whatever is the process, it's a process. right? And that process is very well understood by everybody. Campaigning is a process. And who are the people who have learned that art? Like if you are a HOD in sound, I'm a producer, there are HODs in production designing. You need an HOD who is a publicist and who can run campaign and who's done this for 500 films or 100 films, right? And that is largely acumen, like distribution is not a bad word. I strongly feel that ideas are free. Each of us have 100 ideas. The magic lies in execution, on how one executes, how beautiful the idea. It can be the most jaded, age-old, copied idea, but how have you internalized it and how original is your take on it? But the impact of the best made film lies in distribution. If you cannot crack distribution, you can make the best film, and unfortunately very few people will see it. And it's, and to get to the best distribution is also the work of a producer and all of us. And awards, unfortunately or fortunately, comes in the section after distribution, because only after it is heard, seen, celebrated, you get a Filmfare, or you get an award, you get a national award.
Yeah, so not an either or, it's a combination of actually.
It's a journey of
it's
a
film.
It's a journey.
On that note, I'd have to go to the audiences for some questions.
But I have to still make the rejoinder. It's saying that selection of a film come from such a diverse country, diverse filmmaking. We should also look at the possibility of the distribution, visibility, and all that. I think it is very, very unfair. It's a very, very unfair statement. It has a validity, but at the same time, it is very unfair. Unless and until the country, as a missionary, we want our films to go global, recognition and to be there, then we as a country, we as a system need to put in certain machinery to roll it down for the filmmakers. Otherwise, it's just throwing things to the walls, and I don't think that is.
It is just, sorry, I'll just say that even Lagaan had Sony Picture Classic, and it is years of that experience on how to do it. Is not our expertise, is not my expertise. I know how to make a film, and I know how to make the best version of a story. But then you need partners, and as a country, it has to be a strategy. That's all.
See, for example, 2005, I think there was a film called Crash, which won the Best Picture. It was a very, very
Canadian film.
Yeah, it's a very, very small film, and it just caught up.
Had American distribution.
Of course. Fox Searchlight had the wisdom to pick up the movie, and because they saw something in it. So for Slumdog, if it wasn't for Fox Searchlight,
it was not done by them. Yeah,
that's what
by
I'm
Pathé, the British financiers.
That means I'm saying those films were small little films. They themselves haven't imagined that it will go to that level. Certain journeys are just like that. That keeping as a criteria, I think it is very unfair.
Perfect.
I just want to say we are in an unfair situation because we are actually many countries. We are many languages in one country. Okay, so we are anyways on an unfair ground. We get to send one film. So we have so many languages, and as cinema, we are actually many countries because there is a full-on Tamil market, there is a full-on Telugu market, Malayalam market, Hindi film market, Gujarati, Bengali, Punjabi, Bhojpuri. There is a whole, so many languages, and there are films happening in Orissa. We are anyways playing an unfair ground, and we have to send one film.
No, Guni, that's not correct. There are countries who have the same situation. Like, for example, take Russia. There are Ukrainian films. There are films from
most many languages.
I'm saying before the USS parted.
But
it had the same. It had the same equation.
We have 10 good filmmaking industries here, funded, celebrated, all of that. In all of that, we are very capable of making good films across languages, right? But we can only send one.
Yeah.
So that one needs to have its best chances and needs to have the best people on it, the best soldiers on board.
I don't think chances is a criteria.
That is why we have never won.
Having said all this, I personally believe that if we had sent Lunchbox in that year, it had some chances. You know, I totally agree with you. But having said that, I also encourage, by the committee's decision, they stood very firmly on the ground saying that
it's a
no,
bad decision.
We are not sending that film, but we are sending this film. You know, that also needs courage. I mean,
it's a bad decision. I don't
yeah,
know.
but if how many national would I have lost, yeah?
No, but I do country.
But I do respect the committee's decision.
It's just okay. Then across British, American, Canadian publications writing about it. It's not me alone talking about it.
I don't know.
Come on. हमने क्या choice बना दिया? वो choice गलत है करके बाहर गांव में बहुत लोग बोलेगा. उसका
बाहर गांव का award है. ये हमारे देश का award ही नहीं है.
But how does it matter? How?
It matters to me. It matters to a chance that country lost.
But can I just make a point? I just think we should. If we had just stuck to short films the whole time, we would have won an Oscar and we wouldn't even argue. Because there are too many short films to win.
Right.
And I think, I have to say, I think...
That also needs distribution.
No.
Right? That also, like, I want to with Netflix. I mean, you cannot individually go and you can maybe be in San Francisco and lobby enough and get shortlisted or get nominated, but you still need to be heard, seen and distributed, and a campaign needs to be run even for short films. Nothing comes easy. It's a huge award and it's a lot of work, and there is no money that you get with it. And it's a lot of work that you have to do for 3 months there, put yourself out there, no people, no voters. This list does not come to you. It's not people you can knock on your door and you'll be like, hey, you're a voter. There are 10,000 of them. And you have to do blanket marketing. You have to do marketing which is across, and it's expensive, right? So there is, without that knowledge, without strategy, without partners, I mean, it's impossible to do it. It's like, yeah.
Fair point. Points taken. Just 2 questions, and these need to be like really brief questions. Sorry, no statements, just very specific questions. Yes, the gentleman here, if somebody could. Oh, there's.
Hello, ma'am. My name is Pushkar.
So, okay, sir. I'll. Yes, please go ahead.
We are filmmakers. My name is Pushkar, and we just want to know the 10 steps to go to Oscar. Like, one
10 steps.
Go to festival, win an award, get distribution, and hope that your country selects you.
Even if you don't do all that, just dream. Paulo Coelho says, you throw it to the universe will conspire to make it happen.
Just dream, go to sleep.
While the head and the heart have given different answers to that, sir.
Okay, but I think the key first step, and it's a very important step, with a short film, a documentary feature, a feature film, is getting it selected in festivals. If you're going to get your film seen, it really is important for every category to have it seen and celebrated at festivals. And Indian films are not seen at festivals outside the country very often.
Even in shorts, when you see, the basic criteria is to win awards, win the Best Film Award at qualifying festivals. That is exactly what I'm trying to say, even in features. You can't be in your room making the best film. You need to get out there, win validation from anywhere around the world, and then hope you go forward to the next step. It's leveling up every time with your piece of content.
Absolutely. So visibility and being seen at the festivals. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Winning at festivals.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening. Your wonderful last one is good. Very good evening to the esteemed panel. Very healthy conversation. I'm very happy about it. Number 1. Number 2, this Oscar, whatever the promotion for Oscars, it can be for the other international films by the government of India. We have too much on the Oscar part. The other festivals like Sundance and Cannes should be promoted. It's my request. The film people are here. The government agent, please take it up. Please promote the other...
stepping stone, sir. Sundance can. Everything is stepping stone.
Number 3, please carry to the academy my point that this foreign film category has to be abolished. Like the racism to be abolished, because it has to be one world, one global, and that has to be one film category, not one next.
So there is international Emmys. There is international Emmys.
Outsiders again.
there is international Emmys, and maybe that will happen one day. But even Emmys, there is Emmys and there is international Emmys. So international is the whole world, right? And one is an English language award. It is amazing genius that they have built it to be the most prestigious award. Even BAFTAs is amazing, and there is a foreign language category. So that is the way the world works. The world will not change as per you, but maybe you can learn more on how to navigate this world.
Rasulullah and Gurleen, we just don't have time, so very quickly. One last thing.
I heard both of them, ma'am. Like, I'm only one.
How many?
Let people ask, please.
Please let people ask. Yeah, why the panic? It's okay, 10 minutes we will say.
Go on.
Both won Oscars. Yeah. So it was told by Mahesh by long back. Is Oscar validation for a good movie?
Ask yourself.
No, just asking you since you both have won Oscars.
Can you make a bad film and win an Oscar?
Yeah, I think bad film playing instead of Oscar, but it's still won. So my only question is, since I heard both, what Rasul told, you told, my only
let me answer you in one simple way. Spielberg made almost all successful films all over the world. Like, he's the biggest successful filmmaker ever. Okay, but he never won an Oscar until he made Schindler's List. So.
There's somebody there who wants to ask. One second, sir. One second.
Have always been, inspiration to all the people, all the filmmakers here. And so definitely the Oscar did make a lot of it. You have made us all dream. So I would definitely say that it means a lot to a lot of filmmakers here. And since the distribution part, which is the key thing that you've been talking about, I just have one question. How will an Indian film, two questions to that. How will an Indian film be made aware to a foreign distributor or an American distributor? This film is first. Second thing, why would an American distributor be interested? Like you said that Kumbhalini Nights was a good film. Yeah, but why would a foreign American distributor be interested in a film which is made in another language, another hero in this thing, and what would be the criteria for them?
This is how the whole, there is a whole world that works like that, right? So what I'm trying to say is that I wish Kumbhalini Nights did more festivals and from there won awards and found distribution. There is a path to this. Why is because it's business. Kill just got sold for a 7-figure, Kill is an action film and just got sold in Toronto to Lionsgate. And it's a big American distributor. It's a whole soul Indian film. There's no international co-production. It's action genre, and we are trying to show action at its best in our knowledge. We in fact hired the action choreography of Snowpiercer to come here and direct the action. So why it is bought? Because it's good. And why? And because you go to a festival, you go to a festival not just for red carpet. Unfortunately, the media here only talks about the red carpet.
But what if a film has not been able to make it to the festival?
That's try harder. We all start somewhere. There are 2,000 plus festivals. But try where there are markets. Go educate yourself. Unfortunately, if there are no producing courses here, which Government of India should do. This is a part of producing. Producing is an art form. It is not just commerce. So you have to understand why there are festivals. The role of festivals is to search the best in the country and show it. That is the role of why is there a role of a programmer? So you have to try harder, you have to apply more, and you will get there. And you will win it. There is no rule book.
There's no bypassing the festivals.
While acknowledging everything that Guneet has said, let me come to the dream part to both of you. So when I say dream, that doesn't mean that you sleep. Okay? Dreams are not something that you see while you sleep. Dreams are something that doesn't let you sleep. So you got to chase it like that. I mean, one of the ways of chasing that is what she has. The practicality of it is something that.
But it's not a hobby. It becomes a real money-making.
Sir, the very last question. Excuse me, sir. Are you?
Hello. The film called The Triangle of Love, which won Oscar. It is a half-baked documentary and half-baked TV season. It got Oscar. For the past 10 years, the films which are getting Oscars all are shit. Yeah, la. All the films are not.
Okay, sir. Is there a question?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's an observation. Please watch it. Yeah. And Mr. Razul Kutia talking about Rutvik Ghatak. Yeah. Rutvik Ghatak is not a complete filmmaker. You know, there are a lot of mistakes. I have made a 1-hour documentary film on that.
We should go back to a film school, sit and talk about this.
I know one
now,
times more than you.
Yes, please.
I have seen
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. I think we're digressing from the topic.
Kumbalangi Nights.
Because what you said is an academic question.
Yeah.
Statement.
Kumbalangi Nights is a good film. It's not one Oscar. Dangal is Oscar one. Ganguva is Oscar one.
Fair enough. Thank you so much.
Filmmaking is a subjective art.
Absolutely. We are back to the point about filmmaking is an art and art is subjective. Your one-line mantra, each of you as the closing argument, your one-line mantra to be on the road to Oscar. Each of you. Just one line.
Actually, I have no mantra.
No mantra. Just travel the road to Oscar and see where it goes.
So it's like, see, when we were studying, when we were taught, we were asked to study hard. You know, when we start working, we were asked to work hard. We were never taught in school, study joyfully. We were never told, work joyfully. You know, filmmaking is one stream of art where you work joyfully.
Super.
And you make something that is watched by X number of people and they walk out as a completely different human being.
And the joy multiplies.
And and if that is your prime idea, nothing stops you.
Perfect. Your last one-liner.
So for me, it's keep learning, keep growing, and keep creating. We judge ourselves a lot. We are our own, barriers. हमसे थोड़ा होगा, हमारी थोड़ा film select होगी. So keep creating, keep learning. In fact, the reason we named our company Sikhya Entertainment is at the core of keep learning, because you have to learn about American award system, and it needs to be learned. It needs to be studied. It needs to be. You need to be educated about it on how, what. So once you start asking those questions, those answers, the people with those answers appear. You get more clarity on your journey of filmmaking. But never stop creating. Kartiki is a first-time director. If Kartiki and I can do it with the help of Netflix, anybody can.
Beautiful. Wonderful. Never stop learning. Yes, Carter.
Mine is do the projects really that you have a passion for. I think the kind of learning that Rasul is talking about, kind of dreams that he's talking about, are ones that require you absolutely to kill yourself. You have to have a story, you have to have something that makes you wake up at 4 in the morning and work all day and work all night and think of new ways to do it, and you have to be ready to change on a dime when somebody gives you a better idea or tells you your idea is terrible. It can't be, it's not a job. It is a story. You have to find the story that is a passion that allows you to really throw yourself into it until you get it to the right point.
Excellent.
Let me add, Krzysztof Kieslowski has said about filmmaking, Filmmaking is all about freezing your ass in the morning.
Excellent words to end that.
My favorite line from Oscars is Life is Beautiful. The director who won said, I want to thank my parents for gifting me the gift of poverty. So filmmaking is not about anything else. It's the pure art form, and if you love it, it's long format. It takes 2 to 3 to 5 years to tell a story. You're in it for the long run. It is not an Instagram reel, so you will not get instant likes. You're in the long run of it, so make sure you're,
I have just one point to say.
Now that
Puneet has brought Instagram into the picture, now we are actually going through a very sad state of affairs where we call a film a content. Film is not content, and it's amalgamation of so many work of art, and the content is what you see in Instagram.
And influencers are actors.
Or anything like that. So we are going through a very decisive time in history where we are confused about art is being confused as content. It's very, very sorry state of affairs. I mean, platform like this is really for the youngsters actually to put in a sense of direction, to understand what is the language that we are actually talking about. Film, for me, is a language, and it has to be, end of the day, looked at as a language, and then only it can talk to an innate corner of the other side of the globe.
Excellent, and on that note, thank you, Puneet, Monga, Kata Filcher, Rasul Puji. I hope you're not arguing anymore. Thank you on behalf of the entire audience. Please give them a big round of applause.